Hey, positive words, positive choices. It's been about 5 months maybe since I did my last one, but that's okay. Life gets busy. And I'm here in Jersey City I actually don't know the name of the street, but I'm right by County Prep. I'm not on Montgomery, I'm behind County Prep, looking at, basically looking up toward, what's that hospital used to be called? Jeez. I am losing it. Oh well, it doesn't matter. So I decided I'm going to tell a story. That's all. I'm just going to tell a story. The main point of this is fatherhood, I guess, but I'm going to tell a story about my dad and a special night. So it's February 10th, 1990, and it's a Saturday. I'm 19 years old in college at NYU. But I didn't dorm there. I was home. But I had a gig that night with my friend Jim Trippy, Pete Anzalone, and Lou Anzalone at Nightingale's in New York. That was on I think 13th Street and 2nd Avenue maybe. Great place. This guy Tom was a doorman there and managed the club, and it was just a stellar place to play. I loved it. Anyway, Mike Tyson was fighting that night, and I was the hugest Mike Tyson fan. So I asked my dad to, I'm like, make sure, please tape it, tape the fight. I even remember, I think, calling him from a payphone before my gig to be like, oh, did you make sure, it's set up to tape? He's like, yeah, no problem. And I guess, how old is he at this time? In 1990, he'd be 55 at my age now. So he's my age now about. All right, it's even cooler. So I go do the gig. Back then, no social media. I don't hear anything about what happened in the fight with Mike Tyson fights Buster Douglas. So go right home after the gig. I go into my living room. I'm about to start the tape, and my dad comes down the stairs. It's about 2 a.m. My dad woke up for work at 4 a.m., sometimes 4:30 a.m. So, I was surprised he was waking up on a weekend at that time. And he came down the stairs, and he's like, I'm going to watch it with you. I'm like, oh, really? Was it a good fight? He's like, it's a good fight. He's like, it was a really good fight. He's like, I'm not going to tell you anything. So he sat on the 2-person couch. I sat in the single seat in my living room at 132 Hutton Street, and I watched the fight. So looking back, from the very beginning, Buster Douglas looks great. He's in peak shape, he's jabbing. Mike Tyson's getting hit with jabs all through the early rounds and right hands. And, but at the time, from Tyson was a god. You're just thinking, all right, well, he's having some problems. Tyson's going to win. He'll knock this guy out. And I kept looking over to my left at my dad, and he's smiling at me, watching. He wasn't even really watching the fight. He was watching my reaction to the fight because he'd already seen what happened. So round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5, and now it's getting worse. Mike Tyson's eyes starting to shut at some point. The corner doesn't have the equipment, the end swell to get the swelling out of his face, his eyes. They're using I think a rubber glove, if I remember, a rubber glove filled with water or something like that. Anyway, still though, at the time, you're like, it doesn't matter. Tyson is Tyson. This is Mike Tyson. At the time, in my opinion, still, I don't think anyone beats Mike Tyson. I mean, obviously not that night, but I'm saying before 1986, 1988 Tyson, I mean, I don't see anybody beating that guy. That's just me. That's because it's my heavyweight of my era. But I'm watching this fight. Everything's going wrong for Tyson. Looking back, you would just say he's definitely going to lose. But at the time, you're like, he's going to come back. He's going to knock Douglas out. And sure, I think in the 8th round, he actually does. He hits Douglas with that uppercut. Douglas goes down. They complained it was a long count, but he got up before the referee counted to 10, just barely. And of course, then you're like, I look at my dad with this look of all right, it was a good fight. In my mind, I'm like, this is a good fight. But, now I know. That's it. Ninth round, Tyson's knocking this guy out. And my dad's smiling at me. Ninth round, probably a really good round. One of the best rounds, I feel like, in boxing. It was like back and forth, but Douglas really came out and just established himself again and knocking Tyson into the ropes. But Tyson's fighting back himself. I'm looking at my dad, and he's like, look. And then the 10th round, that's when Tyson gets knocked out. And, Tyson on the ground, reaching for his mouthpiece. I'm looking at my dad, looking at the TV, looking at my dad, looking at the TV, thinking he's getting up, right? He's going to get up. And my dad doesn't say anything, just watches me. And I watch Tyson get counted out with that mouthpiece hanging out of his mouth. Shocked. Like, I can't tell you, unless you were alive at that time and you were a boxing fan and the shock of that for someone my age was like almost unbelievable, almost unbelievable. This guy was unbeatable, and here he was on the ground, senseless, unable to get up. And my dad looked at me, and I'll never forget, he used to say this a lot, but he said, see, he goes, I always told you, I always tell you, there's somebody for everybody. Meaning that, you may be the best at something, but there's somebody that is always going to be able to beat you. There's somebody for everybody, man. And that's what it was that night. I'll never forget it. And it shows you how, I feel like I worry about these things with myself as being a dad. Like, am I making these moments with my kids? I hope I am. What will they say one day about me? I don't know. I don't know. But I hope that there's some of that with them. Like, I hope there's some of that because, I love that night. I'll never forget. February 10th, 1990. Mike Tyson gets knocked out. My dad wakes up and watches with me, even though he's seen it already. He's probably exhausted, but just staring at me the whole time and me looking back and forth at him like, what the hell am I watching here? Dads.